All right, there we go. We are live.
Hello.
Hopefully the baby sleeps.
Yes.
So that is key.
Yes.
Timothy's also playing upstairs, so hopefully he doesn't hurt himself or anything. As we get set up here are some of these codes. Let's get them to where they're visible.
There we go.
There we go. Just gonna make sure that our camera is good and everything. We know we are not the most prolific people ever, and especially since we have had David, who is 3.5 months old now. You know, it's been tough, but we really enjoy the Pokemon trading card game. We are so thankful for Paladin, Ed over there, gifting us this and entrusting us with some of his product to look at and share with you guys. So we've got more of these codes to share throughout the live stream. We're going to be opening this up and looking at what's in it, and I think we'll look at this after we open the actual box, but I think Ed sent us an extra pack of the trainer cards from the toolkit, so we will check that out and be even more grateful than we already are. So we are Neil and Katie from Higher Education. If you don't know who we are, most of the time we spend playing with cards like these, the old ones.
Yes.
And we just play casually, so we are not experts by any means on high-level competitive play. We'd be happy to direct you towards the people that are.
Yes.
But what we've seen over the last 7 or 8 years of our journey playing the Pokemon trading card game is that the game is just fantastic for little kids, helping them learn to read and do math and critical thinking. So we enjoy playing it. We have fun, even though we both hate losing.
Yes.
That is very, very true. But we've found a lot of joy in sharing the game with our family and friends.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what's in here. So, Ed also sent us these extra sleeves, which I'm not sure if they come in. It looks like yes, they must be.
Sleeves?
These must be sleeves. Now, unfortunately, for higher level play, the Pokemon Company made sleeves tend not to survive aggressive shuffling very well.
So just be careful with them
if you use them. You can
use
them if you have lots of time and you mostly pile shuffle and you're gentle and things. But if you're going to go play in any type of competition, you will have to find other sleeves of other quality. Something like these.
Yeah, Dragon Shield is a really great brand.
Yeah, we've used them a lot. Also heard a lot of good things about Katana.
Yep.
And there are other even cheaper sleeves that we've found.
Ultra Pro makes some.
And
there's a myriad of ones that you can find on Amazon to try.
Yeah, there's some cheap black sleeves that we've had a lot of success with that do stand up pretty well to aggressive shuffling. So just be aware of that ETB sleeves and probably these trainer toolkit sleeves too will not serve you well in a real competition or against any time you need to play fast and shuffle fast.
Yeah.
All right, so these sleeves are super cool though.
I
love the way they look,
them.
and I love that they're purple, which matches our one of our favorite
shirts.
colors.
Yeah.
Because I love psychic types, that's why purple has always been one of my favorites. So let's set those over there. There are usually 65 sleeves in a pack like that because you can put 60 cards in a deck. A key feature of Paladin is that they will send you
Candy.
Yum. And they will send you extra candy if you ask for it in the notes on your order.
Yes.
So feel free to ask for candy, whether you have young ones or not.
Yes.
And recently, Ed talked about how he will also send codes. So if you want these kinds of codes or if you want code cards, if you just put that in a note in your order, if they have some, they'd be happy to send them to you. So, candy.
All right.
Let's tackle this.
So there's a little pocket here.
Good.
Let's do that.
Good.
Oh, okay.
And this actually, we've never opened a trainer toolkit before.
This is exciting.
We've never bought one, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so looks like it slides like that. Okay, so that comes off. Set that over there. And then this thing pops open like that. Okay. Okay.
This is a nice little box.
Alright, so first off, we've got the sleeves. Yep. Okay, so we'll put those over there. Always good to have more sleeves. Here is, I think, the pack of trainer cards. This should be
That's a code
for TCG Live, which I'm going to greedily keep because I actually don't have all the cards that I want in Live, so I might need that. This, I think, is all energy. This is a big energy brick.
That's a very large,
a big
energy
one.
Brick.
It's always good to have lots and lots of energy, and I do like that these are the Brilliant Stars energy. So maybe I'll keep these, or I'll probably pass them on to our brothers. Yeah. We'll see. I do really like the Brilliant Stars basic energy design.
Very pretty.
More so than many of the others.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have actually packs.
Yes.
Oh wait, there's more. There's more.
Oh yes. Okay, so we've got a V-Star marker, one of the nice plastic ones.
Oh, I like these kinds of poison and burn markers. Poison and burn markers, the ones that are like almost metallic.
Yeah, they've got like the metallic paint on them.
Yeah, those are nice. Ooh, nice purple dice.
Fun.
I like it a lot.
Yes,
I'm going to add that to my
so
side.
you're going to keep those, I'm sure.
I'm going to keep
Alright, let me close this up and move it.
Oh, and then we've got Evolving Skies, Brilliant Stars, and 2 Astral Radiance. Okay. All great sets.
Yes.
All great sets, in my opinion.
Alright, so
I guess we'll each take that. And then you can pick, honey, do you want to
I was just going to roll, like, heads, tails, or something. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but I don't have an opinion. I'll take
Evolving Skies.
All right.
And then we'll open those here in a second. Yep. And then Trainer's Toolkit Deck Builder's Guide. Ooh, all right, so let's see what's in here. Just briefly, we're gonna look through this. Yep, so choose a Pokemon to build around. Shadow Rider, Calyrex. We just got those League Battle decks and opened them the other day. Yep. Those are really, really cool products.
Yes.
If you want to use a Pokemon with evolutions, you'll have to include the family. Yep, so families are super important. And it's actually how, when we organize our library in binders, we organize them by family.
Yeah.
So of all the cards that we might play together, we put them in that way. Okay, so here, this is much more reasonable than what some of the other guidebooks say. So they talk about 16 to 20 Pokemon, 30 trainers, and 12 energy.
Yeah.
So that's something that these trainer toolkits are really useful for, is that while the vast majority of cards in packs are not trainer cards,
right,
if you want to play, about half of your deck should be trainer cards.
Yeah.
So you need a lot more trainer cards than you need Pokemon.
Yes.
Although having lots of options is, of course, always good, because there's usually a lot more Pokemon cards than there are different trainer cards.
Yes.
But you'll need trainer cards for your deck. So these trainer toolkits are primarily give you, I think this stack is primarily trainer cards. So we need to look at it. Hey, Notzino, we've never bought a trainer toolkit out in the wild either. Oh, Alex. It's Alex. Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Pokemon Go was a great set.
Yes, so fun.
We love Pokemon Go.
That was a fun one.
We've never had a trainer toolkit before, so we're gonna open it and see what all's in here.
Yes.
Okay, so they talk about. Oh, here they actually give you the deck list for the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX League Battle deck as an example. They talk about some specifics of playing that deck and what you
what things sync together really well and
Yep.
and how the deck works.
And then they talk about ways to potentially improve it. So like Ultra Ball, for example, is a really useful card in many decks because it gives you the option to go get any Pokemon.
Yes.
So whereas Great Ball, you can pull any Pokemon, but only from the top 7 cards of your deck. And Quick Ball is popular, but it only lets you pull basics. Ultra Ball lets you pull any Pokemon, but for the cost of discarding 2 cards. Now, some decks work around that really well because they don't mind having things in the discard pile.
Right.
So we will have to take a look at that. They talk about support Pokemon. So support Pokemon generally refers to Pokemon cards that are not intended to be attackers. They provide some very useful supporting function. So Galarian Articuno is used as a support Pokemon in Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX because of its Cruel Charge ability. It allows it to attach 2 extra psychic energy from your hand when you play it to the bench. And because Shadow Rider Calyrex does extra damage for the number of psychic energy you have in play, it allows you to amplify the number of psychic energy you have in play. Similarly, Luminion V here and here, which I don't think we have any actual copies of Luminion V.
Yeah, I think
until now.
The first.
So now we do. So thank you very much once again, Ed, over at Paladin Cards.
Yes.
Thank you. This is our first ever copy of Luminion V. Luminion V is also a support Pokemon. It's almost never used to attack, although its attack is not terrible. It's mostly used for its Luminous Sign ability, which is similar to the old Tapu Lele GX. When you play it from your hand to your bench, you can search your deck for any supporter card, or search your deck. I always say search your hand.
Yeah, your deck.
Sorry, search your deck for any supporter card, put it into your hand, and then play it. So.
Right, and shuffle your deck, obviously.
Because there's no other card that allows you to do that. Right. So Pokegear 3.0 is similar. It lets you look at the top 7 cards.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And find a supporter card.
Yeah.
But if there aren't any, you don't get to pick one.
Get to pick one.
And if there's only one, but it's not the one you need.
Right.
Too bad.
Too bad.
And then Skyla is legal now, but she's a supporter. So if you play Skyla, search out a supporter.
You can't play that second supporter.
You can't play it on that turn, and there's so much hand disruption right now with Marnie.
It's scary to have
that it's unlikely
too many things in your hand.
Right, well, it's scary to search out anything before you can actually play it.
Right.
So Luminion V is also a support Pokemon. Here is an example of an improved Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX deck. Ooh, so we might have to take our
so we might have to play around with that.
Our deck and try to improve it to match this list. Professor's Research is, of course, very, very popular. It's a super powerful card. To discard your hand and draw 7, and of course the perfect scenario is you get your hand down to nothing except Professor's Research, play it, and draw 7 more. Oh, and here's a list of everything that comes in the deck, in here. So we'll look at those here in a second. So lots of really, really good special energy and trainer cards and support, even some support Pokemon in this trainer's toolkit. Alex says that he's been loving the Shadow Rider deck in the online game and trying to build Luna Rock in real life. Yeah, those are both great decks. I've been having a lot of fun with the League Battle deck and playing around with a combination of Mewtwo, V-Star, and Lunatone and Solrock. I need to test it more online before I do much with it.
Yeah.
So, alright, let's go ahead. Why don't we just open... I think these are identical, so we'll just open both of them at the same time.
There it is. It's on the back.
And then we can talk about the different cards. We'll just take turns talking about them.
Mine door, sorry. There we go.
That's okay. And then we can open our packs last.
You got it.
I'm fine. So, first, as we transition, here are some more Pokemon Go codes for anyone who plays Pokemon Go. You can pause this later and
type those in.
Get those codes. We played Pokemon Go a lot for several years, and then We've just moved to a different place where it's not as easy, and now we have kids.
Yes.
Although if we lived where we lived before, we could go walking with the kids.
It'd be much
we have
easier.
done that a little bit.
Yeah. It's just a little bit of a drive to get there.
Yes, it's much harder now than it was, but we very much enjoyed Pokemon Go for the while that we played it.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we can just work our way down like this.
Yeah.
This is how we usually open up new stuff. So let's see here. Boss's orders. Okay, so this is what's called a gusting card. So it provides you the ability to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. This is now a supporter. It's named after the original trainer card from base set 1, Gust of Wind. So that effect is called Gust. And we'll make stacks of like supporters, stadiums, things like that. So Boss's Orders is incredibly powerful because it gives you the opportunity to attack and ideally knock out any one of your opponent's Pokemon that they have in play. So I think there's 2 copies of everything. Okay. So there's 4 more Boss's Orders, which is great because we actually needed more.
Yes.
And there's at least a few Boss's Orders in most decks because you want to be able to choose your matchups.
Who you're fighting, yeah. All right, now we have a special energy called Capture Energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. When you attach this card from your hand to a Pokemon, search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck.
Yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
Capture Energy is a single colorless energy, and it basically gives you a free. It's like Nest Ball, the old Nest Ball that you search for any basic. Yeah. Right now we have Quick Ball, but Quick Ball makes you discard a card. Right. So there are lots of decks that want a bunch of Pokemon on the bench early, like the Intellion Engine based decks, and they'll play Capture Energy to try to get an extra Sobble and things into play early on. But you can use it to search out any basic, so that's really nice. So there's the start of our special energy pile.
Yes.
Okay. Escape Rope. All right. Escape Rope is an interesting card. It sort of provides a Gust-like effect in that it forces your opponent to switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. But... oh, I think David's up. That means David's going to make a debut.
Yes. Let me go get him.
It forces your opponent to switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon, but your opponent gets to make the choice. So it's not as powerful as Boss's Orders. On the other hand, it lets you also switch, so it can be very useful in certain situations, especially if your opponent only has one benched Pokemon, in which case they don't have a choice. That's the one they have to switch. This is similar to during the Sumlot era, if you're familiar with that, from Sun and Moon to Lost Thunder. The primary gusting card then was called Guzma, which was essentially Boss's Orders plus Escape Rope combined, where you got to pick your opponent's Pokemon on the bench and switch it, but then you also had to switch. So sometimes you can see that either effect is particularly useful. So as Katie gets settled here with David, who decided he was going to wake up early from his nap, here are more Pokemon Go codes. And again, all I had to do was write to Ed in the comments when I was checking out from Paladin Cards and say, hey, do you mind sending me some codes? And he did. So you can do that too if you ever order from Paladin Cards. And they are super great. They have great customer service. They ship stuff out. There's been a couple of times where we've bought from them. Hey, buddy. You're on camera.
Yeah, say hello.
Hello. Where we bought from them and the stuff has shown up the very next day.
Yeah, they ship super fast. They make sure to ship your whole order at the same time, which is super nice. So you're not waiting on a bunch of different things.
Yep, and they're very, very good about packaging. They use a lot of packing peanuts. In fact, here, let me just pull this box over. I mean, look at this. Like, for this size box, it's basically full of packing peanuts. And all of your stuff is very, very protected all the time. So,
and the packing peanuts that they use are like super biodegradable. They're like safe for your pets to eat, so don't worry about that. It's great.
Alex, that's a good question about the Mewtwo Rocks deck. I've seen everything from, I think I've seen as few as a 1-1 line of the VV Star to like a 2-2 line if you're going to focus on Lunatone as your attacker and then just occasionally use Mewtwo. My deck right now focuses on Mewtwo as the attacker and just using Lunatone to recycle energy, so I have a 3-3 line of Mewtwo, V, and V-Star. But we were really fortunate to be able to get a lot of Pokemon Go and get a lot of the Vs, and then be able to make some trades for the V-Stars that we needed.
Yeah.
So, hey, buddy. I love you. All right, I think it's your turn, honey. Okay. If he'll let you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, more
we
escape rope.
haven't finished those yet.
Go ahead.
Okay. Evolution Incense.
Evolution Incense.
So this is a good one.
It's a great card.
Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Are we doing individual?
Oh yeah, no, these should go in the
Okay.
items pile.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually separate out tools from the other items, but
yes.
Yeah, so Evolution Incense is really nice. You don't have to discard. You can search for any evolution Pokemon, but there's times when an evolution Pokemon isn't what you need.
Right.
So that is unfortunate.
Yes.
Because then Evolution Incense doesn't help you.
Yes. Excuse you.
But I have really enjoyed having it in some of my decks. Especially because the decks that I play tend to be, I tend to prefer single prize decks. So I've been playing a lot of Ditto Carp from Pokemon Go, and it does not require a fast setup, so I don't really need to use, like, Ultra Ball can be really good in that deck, but the resources, I also need to preserve them.
Right.
So, alright, Evolution Incense, great. Fog Crystal, also great. Okay, so really, really good in that Lunatone and Mewtwo deck, or just Lunatone by itself. So this lets you search for any basic Psychic Energy or any basic Psychic Pokemon. So basically any Psychic deck, this works really well because you can get a Pokemon or an Energy if that's what you need in that given scenario. So versatility in trainer cards is usually really, really nice. So the ability to do a few different things, depending on the situation, is great.
Gloria.
Okay.
Alright, so she's a supporter. Search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon that don't have a rule box and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck.
Alright, so obviously this works in single prize decks. This could work in like an Intellion Engine deck, potentially, although you don't necessarily want to use your supporter for that. One thing that's different about Gloria versus, say, Pokemon Fan Club is like what you just read, you have to put the cards onto your bench.
Yes.
You can't put them into your hand. So this card actually doesn't work well. It could work in Ditto Carp, but I wouldn't want to use it to pull Magikarp most of the time,
right,
because I'm wanting to
discard
them. I want them in the hand so that I can discard them.
Yeah.
And then rule box, for anybody that's not familiar with that term, it was introduced just a few sets ago, so within Sword and Shield. Actually, the first card to use it, I believe, was Empoleon V, and then probably the most common card that uses that term right now is Path to the Peak. But it refers to any Pokemon with a rule box, which prior to the Radiance, in Standard, all the rule box Pokemon were multi-prize Pokemon. So all multi-prize Pokemon are rule box Pokemon. There are some single prize Pokemon that are also rule box Pokemon, like the Radiance. So it refers to any Pokemon with a rule box on it. So like the Radiant Pokemon have the Radiant rule on the card, so therefore they are rule box Pokemon. Alright, yeah, Gloria. Level Ball, also a fantastic card. So Level Ball works well in Ditto Carp, works well in any Intellion deck and any Shady Dealings engine deck because you can pull a Sobble or you can pull a Drizzile. It lets you search your deck for any Pokemon with 90 HP or less and put it into your hand. So then you can do things with it. So the Shady Dealings Drizzile has 90 HP. The Make Do Cincino has 90 HP. Dynamotor Flaffy has 90 HP.
Yeah.
So, and of course, all the evolutions under them have less than 90 HP.
Right.
So, all of those Pokemon you can search out really easily with
Level Ball. Yeah.
You're right. So you don't need Mewtwo for a Lunatone and Solrock deck, but there are builds that use it, especially because if you, say, run into Flying Pikachu with a pure Lunatone and Solrock deck, you're going to be in big trouble because all of your attackers are basics. The other thing with Lunatone is that it's hard for it to swing for big numbers. You're basically planning to two-shot everything, whereas Lunatone and Solrock with Mewtwo V-Star can swing for big damage. He can hit for 270 easily, repeatably, and if you have any type of... I've been playing around with using Old Cemetery to add a little bit of extra damage, or if you have a Choice Belt on him, you can definitely one-shot V-Stars, and you can easily one-shot Vs. So I've been playing around with that because Mewtwo is one of my favorite Pokemon, so I just really want to make him work.
Yeah. Alright, Magma Basin, Surfer Stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may attach a fire energy card from their discard pile to one of their benched fire Pokemon. If a player attached energy to a Pokemon in this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon.
Yeah, so 2 damage counters is not insignificant, but it's not terrible. And being able to accelerate energy, in other words, attach energy faster than just once per turn, is always key is usually key to being able to build a winning deck that can get out and swing for big numbers faster than your opponent, things like that. Now, not every deck relies on that strategy. In Ditto Carp, I kind of have energy acceleration because I only use special energy that provide 2 energy at a time, so each one is in and of itself a type of energy acceleration. That's actually why Double Turbo is popular and could possibly be in here.
Right.
That's like built-in energy acceleration, but other ways to accelerate energy. It's one of the reasons Arceus V-Star is very popular right now, because its attack allows you to... The Arceus V can search out energy and attach them, and the V-Star can deal damage and search out energy and attach them to other Vs. So energy acceleration is always a key strategy to winning. Okay, so Magma Basin. Great. It is me. Marnie. Okay.
There we go.
We all know and love Marnie. Lover, hater. Lover, hater. Marnie is there. I actually really like Marnie. She's no fun when you play her and she bricks you, or your opponent plays her and she bricks you. Yeah. She's really interesting. The funny thing about Marnie is she came out during COVID, or just before COVID. So primarily for a long time she was played only in the online format, or primarily in the online format. And she's unique in that you have to shuffle your hand, put your hand on the bottom of your deck, and then draw off the top of your deck. So you don't shuffle your hand into your deck. And it's very easy still today to, especially now that we have Roxanne, which does shuffle your hand into your deck, it's very easy to play Marnie incorrectly on accident. But Marnie is really, really good for disrupting your opponent. I play a lot of decks where I go second on purpose, and when I go second, I can play a supporter on my first turn, and being able to shuffle away your opponent's hand, going second, if they have more than 4 cards in their hand, ideally, you hopefully really disrupt them and get rid of what they have. What didn't you know? What didn't you know? How Marnie is played, or that Marnie came out with COVID? Yeah, there had never been a card. I don't think there's ever been a card with that Marnie type effect before, where you shuffle your hand and put it on the bottom.
Yeah.
And what that does is it prevents both players from redrawing the same cards, or it's almost impossible. At the very end of the game, it's possible to redraw some of the same cards, but it's very, very difficult. Okay.
All right. Okay, Path to the Peak.
There we go. There we go.
Pokemon with a rule box in play, both yours and your opponents have no abilities.
Yeah, so this is huge. Path to the Peak is huge. It does shut off Radiance.
Yep.
Yeah. So Marnie shuffles, and you put it on the bottom of your deck. That's what it says. It's very easy to misplay Marnie
confusing.
by shuffling your hand into your deck. So Path is huge. There's a lot of decks that use ability Pokemon, like Luminion V that we talked about earlier, and we will talk about again. And Crobat V is very popular. And, of course, the Arceus V Star. Yes. It will shut off Genesect V, which is popular, which is the draw engine in the Mew deck. So Marnie Path, people talk about getting Marnie Path, where your opponent plays Marnie and Path in the same turn, so they get rid of your hand. You get 4 cards that may or may not be useful, and you get Path, so you can't use any of your abilities on any of your rule box Pokemon.
Yeah.
A lot of my decks use Marnie Path because I play other Pokemon that get around that. I've even thought about using Marnie Path in my Mewtwo and Lunarock deck, because it will, even though it'll hurt my Radiant Greninja, it doesn't hurt my Mewtwo at all. It doesn't hurt Solrock. It doesn't hurt Lunatone directly, and it will really disrupt opponents' decks exactly. Path Marnie Path all the time. You can really disrupt your opponent's game plan and try to get set up and get ahead. Okay, so that was Path. Path is great. I love Path. It's actually very similar to an older card called Power Plant, which shut off all abilities for EX and GX Pokemon. And interestingly, there's one copy of Power Plant in the 2019 World Championship deck called Pika Ram Judge. And I was just playing with one of my little brothers, and he was playing the deck Perfection, which is all about abilities, because it uses Dedenne GX to draw, which so does Pika Ram Judge. And its primary attacker is Mewtwo and Mew GX, that its ability is it can copy the attacks of other Pokemon in play and in the discard pile. So you play Power Plant, that ability goes away, and now all of a sudden Mewtwo and Mew GX Tag Team cannot attack. And you can't use Dedenne to draw cards. So I was able to Stadium Nav, flip heads, search out Power Plant, play Power Plant on my first turn, and completely shut down his deck. It was fantastic. So very similar to using Path now. Whose turn is it?
Yours.
Is it my turn? Okay.
Yeah.
Professor's Research. Okay, very classic.
Yes.
Now, discard, draw 7, super powerful. Got to be careful with it later in the game, because of course if you deck out, you lose. If you cannot draw a card at the beginning of your turn, you lose instantly, no matter what else is going on.
No questions asked.
It doesn't matter if you can't draw a card in the middle of your turn. It's okay to overdraw, quote unquote. Like if you only have 5 cards in your deck and you play Professor's Research, you don't lose instantly, but you will lose if you at the beginning of your next turn if you don't win on that turn. So Professor's Research, super powerful. My personal favorite artwork of this card is the Professor Oak version. Oh no! Pacifier down is the Professor Oak version from Celebrations. Actually, just not even the full art, just the one where he's like reaching down and writing notes into the text box. I like that one a lot.
That's a good one. Okay.
Got it?
Quick ball.
Quick Ball. Oh, and I love this artwork
Yes, this
too. This
artwork
is
is
my
so fun.
favorite artwork of Quick Ball.
Yes.
So Quick Ball.
You can only play this card if you discard another card from your hand. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck.
Yeah, so this is a great card in Ditto Carp for me because you can potentially discard a Magikarp or a Gyarados, which increases the damage from your Ditto.
Yes.
And then you can search out a Ditto or a Minccino or even another Magikarp to then turn around and discard. There's a lot of potential options for this. Or your Manaphy. I play Manaphy there to prevent people from attacking my bench. So, Quick Ball is great. Alright, let's see what's next. It is Raihan. Okay, Raihan is also a super useful card. You can play this card only if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So it's a supporter. It is really powerful, but it's conditional, so you can only play it if one of your Pokemon were knocked out. And interestingly, it might not be obvious from first reading it, but actually if there's not a basic energy in your discard pile, then I guess you could play it, but you wouldn't get to do the second effect where you search out any card from your deck.
Yeah, because it says if you do. Yeah.
So again, this is why the game is really helpful for teaching logic and reasoning to little kids, because you have to make them think about, okay, what does that mean? It says if you do. That means if you don't, you don't get to do that where you search out any card from your deck.
Yeah.
This is kind of similar to, what's the older one? Silent Lab. Yeah, Silent Lab. I think Silent Lab is a Prism Star card, right? Yes, because it can only be discarded by other stadiums. So it's a Prism Star Stadium. And of course that's not legal in Standard, but you must run into that when you play in Expanded. Yeah, run into Silent Lab Prism Star. So again, like kids, you can make them think about, okay, what does the text say? So in addition to not only being able to read, really asking them and challenging them to understand what it is that they're reading. Something that the cards are really great for. Okay, so there's Raihan.
Switch. Okay, so
classic.
That's very, very good card. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Yep. Super useful. It's super useful.
I think if I read correctly, and this wouldn't surprise me at all, there has been a legal version of Switch in every Standard format from base,
forever.
From base set on. So Switch was printed in the original base set with this exact same effect, and there have been other Switches printed throughout the history of the Pokemon trading card game. So Switch is fantastic. Okay, Tool Jammer. I think we only have one copy of this.
Well, now we have 4.
And there are definitely some really impactful tools. This is actually the first tool in here. So Tool Jammer, if it's attached to a Pokemon that's in your active spot, then it shuts off all other tool effects. So things like Choice Belt, things like Air Balloon, things like, there are other tool cards that are less common. Yeah. Things like Rugged Helmet, Lucky Egg, Pot Helmet, all of those types of things are shut off by Tool Jammer. Probably Air Balloon and Choice Belt are the most common tools right now.
Yeah, and they're pretty powerful.
Hang on. Goldberry? No, is that what it's called? Muscle Band is like Choice Belt, but it adds 10 to anybody, whereas
Oh,
Choice
okay.
Band only adds 30, or adds
Adds
30,
30,
but only to V's.
V's, okay.
Only to V's.
Lucky Egg.
Lucky Egg. I love Lucky Egg. And I don't actually have a copy in Ditto Carp right now, but I've played around with using it. It lets you, when your Pokemon is knocked out, while having Lucky Egg equipped, you get to draw until you have 7 cards in your hand.
Nice.
And darn, I am blanking on the name of the one that adds 30 HP. I guess, so Galarian Breastplate I've seen. Fighting Fury Belt. Psychic type stadiums, so probably the most specific psychic type stadium right now, Alex, is Old Cemetery, which is, is anytime one of your opponents attaches an energy to a non-psychic Pokemon, they take 20 damage.
Yeah.
And it's from their hand, anytime they attach from their hand. Which really, I feel like should be triggered by things like Gardenia and whatnot. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Should be triggered by things like Gardenia, because they do attach from the hand, but it's possible, I feel like I've seen it not... Big Charm, thank you, Big Charm, that's what it's called. I was like, what is that one called? The other one I've seen is the Fighting Fury Belt that adds 50 HP, but only to basics. Big Charm is big. Is big. It's used in some like Arceus decks because a lot of decks are trying to hit 280, and if you just add that 30, then you make it very difficult. Yes, very difficult to get the knockout. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep marching through this while Katie feeds the baby. That's just how we roll. We definitely have played games where we pass the baby back and forth. It's part of the reason why we're not as prolific. If it was just the two of us, it would be a lot easier to film and edit a lot more. But yeah, so let's go ahead and work through this. Okay, Ultra Ball, here we go. And you know what? Actually, I just bought some Ultra Ball, like pre-modern ones, like older arts of Ultra Ball, because that's what I could find. I definitely prefer having all the same art of any card in my decks. I don't like having to mix different types of arts. But Ultra Ball is just super, super powerful. Discard 2 cards in order to draw any card. And if it's a deck like Luna Rock that pulls things from the discard pile really easily, then you're not even really hurting yourself by discarding 2 cards. Now, unfortunately, sometimes you end up with just an Ultra Ball and 2 cards that you really don't want to discard in your hand, or maybe even just an Ultra Ball, and then you can't play it. So, it has its uses, but you definitely have to be careful. I wouldn't say it's an absolute 4-of in every deck, but it's a very, very, very powerful deck. Yes, Item Lock Vileplume, that ability and that type of ability actually goes all the way back to Dark Vileplume from the Team Rocket set, which we have in a deck called Mirkwood.
Yes.
And that Dark Vileplume actually shuts off all trainer cards. Nobody can play any more trainer cards at all. So only Pokemon and only energy. And that gets very interesting very quickly. Oh yeah, here's some trash.
Thank you.
Thanks, honey.
Yep.
Okay, so Ultra Ball is great. Oh, let me pull. I did pull the 2 off of yours. Okay, then we have Double Turbo Energy.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
So Double Turbo Energy is built-in energy acceleration because it provides 2. Now, the drawback to Double Turbo is that it decreases your attack damage by 20 for each Double Turbo that's attached. Yes. So, for example, the other day I was playing with Slacking V, and I had 2 Double Turbo on because he takes 4 colorless energy to attach, so he did 40 less damage. Now, Double Turbo Energy can be attached to any Pokemon, whereas Twin Energy, which provides double colorless energy and does not have the damage reduction drawback, that twin energy can only be attached to non-rulebox Pokemon. So in my Dittocarp deck, I play 4 double turbo and 4 twin energy, and those are all the energy that I have in my deck. Before or after adding rare candy. So rare candy, as it exists now, did not exist in base set, but what they did have was a card called Pokemon Breeder that let you jump straight from basic to stage 2. So essentially the same thing as rare candy. Really no differences, because the current rare candy functions exactly the same as the old Pokemon Breeder. There was a period of time where rare candy not only could be used on the first turn, but it could also be used to evolve from a basic to a stage 1. So you could play a basic and then immediately evolve to a stage 1 with rare candy. You can't do that anymore. The current version of rare candy only lets you jump from basic to stage 2, and you can't play it on the first turn that card was in play. So essentially, yes, you did have rare candy available to you at the time, so if you got set up, or if you went first, in theory, so Pokemon Breeder you could not use on the first turn that card was in play. But in theory, as early as turn 2, the candy that gives extra 30 attack. Which one is that? That's Power Tablet? Is that what you're talking about? The one that's used in Mew? Yeah. I think it's called Power Tablet. It gives you 30 more damage for that turn. Yep. I actually don't think we have any copies. We did not open very much Fusion Strike at all, and we definitely don't have Mew at all. Okay, let's see here. Choice Belt, fantastic. Nice. Love Choice Belt. So again, as we just talked about, Choice Belt is a super powerful tool card. Yes, they do look like candies. You're not wrong. They look like Pez almost, or Smarties. They look like Smarties. That's what I feel like Power Tablet looks like. I think of Smarties every time I see them. Choice Belt is a tool that attaches to any Pokemon, and when that Pokemon attacks a Pokemon V, it does 30 more damage. So Choice Belt is super useful in Dittocarp because it takes your max damage from 250 to 280, so then you can one-shot... Yes, Smarties. You can one-shot... you can one-shot a lot of V-Stars, because a lot of V-Stars have 280 HP. So things like Arceus V-Star, etc., you can one-shot them with Dittocarp. If you have all 4 Magikarp, all 4 Gyarados in the discard pile, and then you have a Ditto with Twin Energy and Choice Belt attached, you can hit 280 damage. So it's huge. Alright, so there's our tool pile.
Ooh, Collapse Stadium. Okay. Each player can't have more than 4 benched Pokemon. If a player has 5 or more benched Pokemon, they discard benched Pokemon until they have 4 Pokemon on the bench. The player who played this card discards first. If more than one effect changes the number of benched Pokemon allowed, use the smaller number.
Yep. So that's big. There's certainly lots of... So this is like the opposite of Skyfield. I already pulled it. This is like the opposite of Skyfield, which increases your bench size to 8, which I can't even imagine playing with that in real life.
It seems crazy.
Like physically, that would get very awkward very fast.
Yeah.
This is almost the exact same. I think this is the exact same card essentially as Narrow Gym, the old Narrow Gym. Yeah. There is an older stadium called, I think it's Giant Stump, that actually reduces the bench size further down to 3 instead of 4. But there are effects like Avery and like Collapse Stadium that are used against decks that want a lot of Pokemon on their bench. And so you use this to get rid of that, especially because there's some decks now, Palkia is one, that increases damage based on the number of benched Pokemon, so you can use Collapse Stadium to counter that. All right, let's see here. Okay, Adventurer's Discovery. Yep. So I've seen people play this card, and I personally haven't used it a lot because I tend not to use a lot of rule box based decks. Usually because they're harder to find and expensive.
Sorry.
David's over here eating very noisily, as you guys can see. But Adventurer's Discovery is search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon V, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So that's kind of nice. You're probably going to turn around and play them onto your bench, or to evolve. But you have the option to put them into your hand, and maybe you want to discard them for some reason. There's going to be a new Ho-Oh V coming out that you can pull it back from the discard pile and then attach up to 4 energy, basic energy from the discard pile to it.
Nice.
It's colorless, so this you could potentially pull it with Adventurer's Discovery and then discard it with something like Quick Ball or Ultra Ball to set up that play later. So Adventurer's Discovery is really nice for decks that are heavily rely on Pokemon V.
There's too much stuff back here for him to see. He's looking at all of our boxes.
He's very excited. He's very excited. You can see a little bit of our setup. It's mostly boxes and damage counters and dice and things for when we play. All the off-screen stuff. For when we're playing.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh,
Cross Receiver.
Nice.
You must play 2 Cross Receiver cards at once. This effect works 1 time for 2 cards. Put a Pokemon or supporter card from your discard pile into your hand.
Okay, nice. So, first of all, it's really nice to get 2 sets of these. Again, thank you so much, Ed, over at Paladin Cards for sending us these. So now we have a play set of 4.
Yes.
I think I just picked one up in the store, so we might have 6 now, 5 or 6 now total. So Crossceiver is similar to the old Item Finder. Item Finder was more powerful, but also made you discard 2 cards to get any card out of your discard pile. So Crossceiver only works on Pokemon or supporters, but you have to be able to play 2 at once. But you don't have to discard. So you can see how it's a similar effect with a slightly different application. So Crossceiver, is really powerful. I haven't seen it a ton in a ton of decks. I've thought about using it, certainly in decks that are heavily item based. I keep trying to think about ways to do a nearly all item based deck using Pokemon, Pokestop as your primary stadium. But I just haven't found it quite yet. I played Pokestop and Dittocarp a lot early on, but whenever it would discard my special energies, it was just brutal because there's almost no way to get special energy back right now except for Roseanne's backup. So Crossceiver is a really good card potentially. Oh, and here is its spiritual cousin, Cross Switcher, which I have seen people play. And this is similar to Custom Catcher, which is in the 2019 World Championship decks. Then it was one of the only times that you could Gust, and that's all it was Gust. Cross Switcher is the same in that you need 2 of them at once in order to play it, but it is like it's not like Escape Rope. It's actually like Guzma. So it's an item card that is Guzma, where you get to pick your opponent's bench Pokemon to switch in, then you have to switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So you do have to think about that situation, and if you have somebody who can retreat out of it, or if you have someone ready to attack on the bench. But Cross Switcher makes you do both switches, but you get to do both picks. You get to pick both. So unlike Escape Rope where your opponent gets to pick their switch, Cross Switcher you get to pick both switches. So that's huge. And I don't think we had any other Cross Switcher before.
I don't think I've seen that one. Okay, Fusion Strike Energy.
Okay, yep. Fusion Strike Energy is obviously huge in Fusion Strike decks. It can only be attached to Fusion Strike Pokemon. So yes, Guzma is super annoying, except when you're the one playing it, and and it works really well. So I played Guzma in my Sumlot deck that my friend Kyle Kyle Whimsicast helped me build for the Somewhat side event at NAIC, and Guzma is the main Gust card in Somewhat, so I played Guzma there. So Fusion Strike Energy can only be attached to Fusion Strike Pokemon. Obviously, the most popular Fusion Strike deck right now is Mew, and will be until Mew rotates.
Yeah.
As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only one at a time. So it's Rainbow Energy, plus prevent all effects of your opponent's Pokemon's abilities done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. So, for example, you might have, say, Empoleon V. Your opponent might have Empoleon V in play in the active spot that shuts off all abilities for non-Rulebox Pokemon. If you had a non-Rulebox Pokemon that was Fusion Strike and you attached a Fusion Strike energy to it, it had an ability, that ability would no longer be shut off, because Fusion Strike Energy would negate that effect. Now, of course, Fusion Strike Energy is primarily infamous for its combination with Meloetta, because you can use an Alessa Sparkle and attach a Fusion Strike Energy from the hand to a Meloetta and do set 210 damage, 70 damage per Fusion Strike Energy in play. You can do 210 damage on turn 1. That's not even counting if you have a Choice Belt or something attached. So you could potentially one-shot your opponent's starting Pokemon V on turn 1 going second with your attack with Meloetta. So that is probably Fusion Strike's primary claim to fame. You can't do 280 on turn 1 going second, because you can only get 3. You can't get more than 3 Fusion Strike energy into play on your first turn. But you could get the 4th one into play on the next turn after that, because you can do 2 with 1 Alessa Sparkle. Okay, Power Tablet, yes. So Power Tablet, you could in theory have up to 4 Power Tablet that you play. So I guess Power Tablet times 4 is 120. Mm-hmm. So you're at 210 plus 120 is 330, plus a Choice Belt would be 360. So yeah, under the perfect circumstances, you can do crazy amounts of damage with Meloetta turn 1 going second.
Crazy.
Oh, hey, look! Here's Power Tablet!
Hey.
And yes, look, they are Smarties. They are Pokemon Smarties, right? Or
Lifesavers?
Yes, like okay, they look like Lifesavers. Yes. They look like Lifesavers. There we go. Katie has answered the riddle for us. Yeah, they're Lifesavers. They're Pokemon Lifesavers that for some reason they're performance-enhancing drugs for your Pokemon, which is not okay except in Pokemon, but I guess we've been doing that, from the earliest days with
Plus power
and all kinds of things. So, Power Tablet is during this turn, your Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So, yeah, I mean, augmenting damage is always super great. It obviously, again, only works for Fusion Strike Pokemon. So they gave Fusion Strike Pokemon a lot of tools to work with. But being able to deal extra damage, especially if you can then also apply weakness after that.
Oh, man.
After that, because then it's 60 more damage if you got weakness going for you. That's huge. Okay. Was that my turn or your turn?
I think it's your turn.
Okay.
I don't know. Rescue Carrier.
Oh, yes, I love Rescue Carrier.
Put up to 2 Pokemon, each with 90 HP or less from your discard pile into your hand.
Yes. So again, I played this card in Ditto Carp, where all of my Pokemon have 90 HP or less. This card is useful in Lunatone and Solrock because they have 90 HP or less. Again, Dynamotor Flaffy has 90 HP. Shady Dealings Drizzile has 90 HP. There's a lot of decks where you can imagine that this card would be very, very useful. So I love Rescue Carrier. It's a great, great card.
Dad, I think his eyes might end up being brown.
Oh no, are his eyes finally changing? Both of our boys have had Katie's eyes like the whole time. And now maybe
he has like it against the gray it almost looks red, but he has like a brown streak.
Oh, we'll see.
We'll see.
Hey!
Or maybe he'll just have really funky eyes. I don't know.
We'll see. His mama has funky eyes. Rare candy.
Yeah.
Love rare candy.
Oops,
so again, because we mostly play with the oldest cards before there were even any rule box Pokemon.
Yes.
We love our stage 2s, which again, even in the oldest cards, were always considered really slow, and unless you had something like Blastoise, like Venusaur, the original Venusaur and the original Charizard were never super great competitively as far as we understand.
Yeah.
Blastoise was because of its ability to accelerate energy.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't know if Blastoise was your primary attacker. I think they used that Articuno a whole lot. But Rare Candy lets you jump straight from a basic to a stage 2.
Yeah.
Now, most decks that rely on Rare Candy type effects will still play at least one stage 1. Is what I've seen, because you just never know if you're going to be able to find your Rare Candy. Now, certain decks, it depends on how well you're able to search out items. So, like, Irida would be a great card, where you could Irida for Blastoise and Rare Candy, and then jump your Squirtle up to Blastoise. The Pokemon Go Blastoise is actually quite popular right now because of its ability, which I think is called Vitality Spring. If you use this ability, your turn ends, search your deck for up to 6 energy cards. Any energy card, bless you. Any energy cards, 6 of them, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. And it ends your turn, of course, because that's crazy powerful. But yeah, like if you could reliably search out Rare Candy, you just want to make sure that you're playing 4 of them in general, and that you have a way to search them out, depending on what your strategy is. If Blastoise is just a supporter and you've only got 2 of them in the deck, you probably don't need 4 Rare Candy.
Yeah, I would not waste those spots.
But if your deck is all about attacking with stage 2s, then you're going to want Rare Candy.
Yes.
Okay, so that's an item. I think it's your turn.
Okay. Air Balloon.
Air Balloon.
Yes,
yay.
This is a tool.
Yep.
The retreat cost of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 2 less.
It's 2 less. So interestingly,
which is really powerful.
For the math, that's actually super important. So this math is -2. Unlike effects like Floatstone, which is a ×0.
Yeah.
So if you have an air balloon attached and somebody has something in play like Galar Mine, which increases retreat cost by 2, then it negates the effect of air balloon. But it would not negate the effect of a ×0. It would not negate the effect of a Floatstone. So Floatstone is objectively better than air balloon, but obviously Floatstone's not legal in standard right now. So air balloon is retreat cost -2. So anything, and of course retreat cost can never be negative.
Right.
So anything with a retreat cost of 2 or less, you attach air balloon, and its retreat cost becomes 0 until something either shuts off the air balloon, removes the air balloon, or another effect increases retreat cost again. And then you have to do more complicated math.
Can you imagine that? Like, negative retreat cost. When you retreat this Pokemon,
attach an energy. Oh, that would be insane. That would be totally insane. Okay, and then we know what these last 4 are.
Yes.
This is the Luminion V.
Yes.
Alright, so that's great. I'm a little surprised that there's only 1 support Pokemon in here, but again, the nice thing about these trainer toolkits, they almost should be called trainers toolkits, because they give you a whole bunch of trainers.
Yes.
And trainers are, again, they're going to make up half of your deck in most decks, half or more. So you need lots of trainer cards if you're going to play the game. So Luminion V, it can be useful as an attacker, but it's usually not used that way. It has essentially the same ability as the old Tapu Lele GX, which was reprinted in the Classic collection of Celebrations. That's actually the only copy of Tapu Lele GX that we have. and its ability is, this one's called Luminous Sign, and it lets you search your deck for any supporter card and put it into your hand when you play Luminion V to your bench. Now, single prize decks can take advantage of this and gust this up and knock it out. Most other decks aren't going to be able to afford to do that because they need to deal with your rule box attackers. But if you ever have to attack with Luminion V, its attack isn't terrible. It does 120 damage for 1 water and 2 colorless energy, and you get to shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it back into your deck, so then you can use Luminous Sign again. So potentially, and I have seen people attack with Luminion V, it has the potential to be really useful depending on the circumstance. Okay, so there we go. That was our 2022 Trainer's Toolkit from Paladin Cards. We're super excited to have a lot of the cards.
Yes.
Depending on where the meta game goes and what decks you're trying to play and things, these may or may not be the most useful trainer cards out there. There are certainly lots of others to choose from. But having these is really, really nice for us, especially, as we try to build lots of different decks to be able to play with. And some of these cards we've never had any copies of.
Yes,
I don't think we had
fun.
any copies of Power Tablet or Frost Switcher before. No. So, last thing we're going to do is open up. The toolkit also comes with 4 packs.
Yes.
So we're going to open up these packs, and we will go ahead and give away the code cards.
Ow, ripping out my hair. Okay, David.
Ooh,
oh, baby.
David, be nice to your mother. We'll go ahead and give away the code cards. That's totally fine. Okay. And we'll see what we get. Maybe we'll get lucky and find some more things that we didn't have before.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I would love to pull a Hisuian Heavy Ball from another copy.
Take these out. The codes.
No, we're gonna
sleep them.
Well, yeah, I'll hold them up here in just a second.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Okay, so there's Astral Radiance. Here is Evolving Skies. Here is Brilliant Stars. And last code, here is Astral Radiance.
Sorry. Just throwing stuff over here.
You're just throwing stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to put my stack on top of each other, and then we'll just go through and see what we can find. Okay. We've had really good luck.
Some really good luck with these.
We've had really good luck with things like this. We opened 1 pack each for the single pack battles where you actually battle with a 10-card deck at NAIC. We had 1 pack each. Katie pulled Origin Form Dialga V.
Yeah.
And I pulled a full art Alistair. So, which I like Alistair a lot. Although again, I don't like having different artwork. What was that? Was that a burp?
Yes.
Was that a burp? Holy cow! Do you have a burp rag?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
He thought it was really funny.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Go ahead and go first.
Ursaring,
nice. I have a Vigoroth, single strike.
Magneton.
Yes. Ooh, I have Hypno.
Oh, nice.
It puts you to sleep with the first attack, and the second attack does 30 damage plus 90 more damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition.
Oh, nice. Gatejaw Bog Stadium.
Oh, great. We'll just set that over here. Yeah, this is the one that damages when you put a basic Pokemon onto your bench, it puts 2 damage counters on it. So there's a lot of decks Like, I think there's a single strike Primeape card that does like 50 more damage for each of your Pokemon that has damage counters on it. So you can get up to 250 damage with that. Yeah, so Gapejaw Bog is really useful. There's other cards that go well with it too. Yeah. All right, let's see here. I pulled Full Face Guard. Okay. This one doesn't get used a ton, but it's a tool card that if the Pokemon this card is attached to has no abilities, it takes 20 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So again, 20 damage is not insignificant. People play Galarian Zigzagoon all the time just to get 10 extra damage.
Yeah.
And Quick Shooting Inteleon is useful, although arguably Shady Dealings Inteleon is more powerful, but Quick Shooting Inteleon is useful. Like 10, 20 damage at the right time makes a big, big difference.
Sorry, hold on.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
Doing a poop. Okay.
Baby's the most important thing here anyway.
Okay, Grass Energy.
Okay, yep. And I have a Darkness Energy.
And Hisuian Decidueye.
Ooh.
Okay, so this one has 2 attacks. It is fighting type. Its first attack is for no energy. Piercing Claw 30 times. This attack does 30 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon.
Okay.
So
And of course,
nice.
fighting.
You don't have to flip forward or anything. So
right, and
nice.
fighting is a big type right now because you hit Arceus for weakness.
Yeah. And then its second attack, Direct Arrow. 1 fighting, 2 colorless. This attack does 80 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon.
Okay, so you can snipe the bench, and that's always really nice. 80 damage is kind of you want it to be 90, so you can hit all those things like Drizziles and whatnot, but that's okay. All right, let's see what we got here. I have a Pincer with Vice Coach. Damage from your single strike Pokemon's attacks isn't affected by your opponent's active Pokemon's resistance. Now, resistance is not nearly as common or as powerful in the Sword and Shield era. I'm hoping that they make it better when we get to Scarlet and Violet. Because it really should be that you have to think about weakness and resistance a lot more often than you do now. But the ability to negate resistance, probably the most common resistance, I'm not sure what's the most common one that actually comes up in competitive play, but one of the most common resistances that you see that's been around forever is the colorless flying type Pokemon have fighting resistance. And that's always been the case. Forever and ever. Since base set. So yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, Miltank. Oh, it has an ability.
Oh, is that the Miltank? The
Miracle
Body Miltank?
Yep.
Yes! We didn't have any of those before. Yes! That card is so popular right now.
Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. So that's exciting.
Yes! Oh, and it's a reverse holo.
Yes.
That's fun. Cool. This is like the best card that we didn't have. So this is super popular because it's immune to things.
Right.
This is in that Mewtwo V Union deck that Sander took to NAIC and got top 4 with. Man, this card is used in a lot of things. It would potentially even be a good card to have in Dittocarp as a setup card. So yes, good job, honey.
Yay!
Nice one. I'm probably more excited about that than any V or anything we might pull. Lucky Ice Pop. Okay, this card is really annoying when it's used against you. So it heals 20 damage, and then if you flip heads, you get to put it back into your hand and play it again.
Okay.
It's an item, so you can just keep playing it over and over and over again. It's used in I wouldn't say meme, but definitely rogue decks that basically rely on having like one big active Pokemon with a ton of HP that you just keep healing and healing and healing and healing. So like tank type decks. I'm not sure if there is a better, like more official or more commonly used term for them, but I've definitely seen Lucky Ice Pop played in certain types of decks on PTCGO. So yeah, it's nice to have. It's not a deck you would never use it in a deck where you're expecting to get knocked out all the time. But again, 20 damage can make a big difference. And you always heal at least 20, but you can potentially heal a lot.
Right.
Okay, your turn.
Scyther,
nice. Love Scyther. Love Disc. Synchro draw. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. That's potentially, I've never seen anyone use it, but that potentially is useful as a support type Pokemon. You have to have it in the active spot because that's an attack. But yeah, it's like Copycat. Its attack is Copycat.
Okay, Mantine? Or is it Mantine?
I think it's Tine, but I don't actually know for sure.
Okay. Has 2 attacks, born ashore for 1 colorless. Put a basic Pokemon from either player's discard pile onto that player's bench.
Okay, so it's kind of like Echoing Horn.
Right. And then Aqua Edge, 2 water, 1 colorless, 100 damage. Just straight, that's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see here. Wobbuffet. Okay, this Wobbuffet is potentially really useful. Mirror Pain, 2 colorless. Put damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon equal to the number of damage counters on one of your bench Pokemon. So because Wobbuffet is a basic and this attack only takes 2 colorless energy, you could really easily copy this attack with Ditto. So that's, neat. Now, you have to have a Pokemon on your bench with a lot of damage on it and that ideally can't be bossed up. So right now, I don't know that there's a ton of strategies that are super useful for this. But in theory, you could throw one of these in like a Shadow Rider deck or something and be able to move, retreat Shadow Rider, put up Wobbuffet, and because it places damage counters, it doesn't deal damage, it places damage counters. If you put a double turbo on him, you could play double turbo in Shadow Rider, it's not ideal, but if you had a double turbo in this Wobbuffet, it would not decrease the amount of damage counters placed, because double turbo only decreases damage dealt, not number of damage counters placed. Those are 2 separate types of effects, so you have to keep that in mind. Now, on the other hand, things like Wash Water Energy or Big Parasol that prevent effects of attacks would completely block Mirror Pain. Because even though they don't block damage, they do block effects, and placing damage counters is an effect. So, Mirror Pain, Wobbuffet, Single Strike, potentially very useful.
Yeah. Okay, Teddiursa.
You pulled Ursaring earlier, so that's very fitting. Alright, I have a Mareep.
Nice.
Good.
Heracross.
Dino! I love dragon types. Call for family. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. Nice.
Oh,
uses mixed psychic and
darkness
and darkness energy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eevee.
Eevee. Is that the one with evolutionary change or resonant evolution?
Yeah.
So basically, if you have multiple Eevee in play and you evolve one of them, you can then evolve another one, and then potentially even another one. Like every time.
Okay, so here. Once during your turn, when you play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your other Eevee, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto your bench to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. Oh no.
Oh, I messed with it.
Oh no.
That's my
bad. oh, waiting for connection.
I was trying to zoom in and I think I accidentally closed it.
Oh no. Oh, what's wrong?
There we go. Okay, we're back. Okay. We're back. It wouldn't be a live stream without some technical difficulties.
Yeah, at least one. Yeah.
And the baby waking up. Okay, Rapid Strike Hoppip. This is the one that we have over there where it's like it was like folded in the pack, like part of the edge was like folded. Yeah. So cool.
Okay. Beartic. Bear Arctic.
Beartic. No, just Beartic. two syllables. Beartic.
You never know.
You do never know. Ooh, Dark Patch is such a great card.
It is such a great card.
Anytime you can, again, Energy Acceleration, it's only an item. You can attach a Darkness Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Darkness Pokemon. I've got ideas about how to use this card. That's an item. That's great. I think I bought some already, but it's always good to have more.
Hi. Are you talking? Yeah. Okay. Hunting gloves. This is a
Ooh.
Pokemon tool.
Does that increase damage to dragon types?
Yes. The attacks of this Pokemon let me start over. The attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active dragon Pokemon.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think any of these cards really got a lot of play, but they did an interesting thing where they made a bunch of different glove type cards of different types that increase damage to different types of Pokemon. So hunting gloves works, it's a tool, works on dragon Pokemon. Let's see what we got here. Hippowdon can do up to 180 damage, but you have to discard 2 energy.
Right. Cleansing gloves. Gosh,
okay, I think that increases damage. Do you need me to hold him?
I mean, he's just like...
That increases damage to darkness types?
Psychic types.
Psychic types.
Yes. Yeah, like ghost, like cleansing, like...
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. What's the darkness? Oh, those are called Justice, Pure...
I don't know.
Something about just gloves? I think it might be just gloves that increases damage to darkness types.
Uh-huh. Tell me about it. Tell me all about it.
Yes!
Yay,
I'm so excited! Hisuian Heavy Ball! We only had one of these, and it's such a useful card. I really wanted one for my Lunatone Solrock Mewtwo deck, and now I have another copy. So, yes, Hisuian Heavy Ball. Booyah, baby. Booyah. Miltank, Hisuian Heavy Ball. It's been such a good day. Alright, that's just the V-Star marker.
V-Star marker.
So it'll go back to my turn, which means this should be an energy. Okay, so...
Escavalier.
Oh, I love that Escavalier.
Miraculous Armor. This Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V after applying weakness and resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he does 90 damage. He hits... Actually, you know what? This card should be more popular right now because he hits... Well, he hits Ice Rider for weakness. That's what I'm thinking of. Ice Rider is weak to metal. Whereas Palkia is weak to lightning, which is why lightning types have become more popular again. But it takes 100 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. So this would be really good against Ice Rider, potentially. Hits for 90 damage, so times 2, that's 180. With a Choice Belt, that's 240. So you can one-shot the Vs for sure. And then you get to do 30 damage to one of the bench Pokemon as well. So I have one copy of this Escavalier, and I've used it to great effect against your Glaceon V-Star.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's see what my rare is. Miss Magius. Okay, I've not seen this one. Your opponent reveals their hand. If they have 4 or more cards in their hand, choose all but 3, and your opponent shuffles the chosen cards back into their deck. Okay, so you get to pick, well, you technically pick ones to shuffle back, but in effect, what you're doing is you're picking 3 for them to keep. So ideally, you would pick the 3 least useful cards, and then they have to shuffle everything else back into their hand.
Yes.
Or deck.
Yes.
So this could be potentially useful in like a control type deck where you're trying to prevent your opponent from having a useful hand at any given point in the game. It is a stage 1 though, but it only has 90 HP, so it's level ball searchable, and you could get it back with Rescue Carrier. So she has interesting potential, and Psybeam causes confusion 100% of the time. So 50 damage, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Confusion's not as bad as it used to be because you can just retreat out of it, but if you combine that with something like Galar Mine, you can potentially make confusion very, very problematic because where's he trying to go? Where's he trying to go? He sees the bottle on the table.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Alright, your turn.
Okay. Ooh,
oh!
That's fun.
Look, a funky Oranguru.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. This is one of the trainer gallery cards.
Yeah.
Chill Oranguru.
Fun. Yay, Mommy.
Alright, and this is the one with Primate Wisdom. which lets you, once during your turn, you may switch a card from your hand with the top card of your deck. So that's useful for lots of things, especially if you have any type of effect where you want to search a card out of your deck. If you use Primate Wisdom, you can then search it out. So, for example, you can use it in Single Strike. It actually, a copy of that, 2 copies of that card come in the Single Strike Urshifu League Battle deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have Single Strike energy in your hand, you can use Primate Wisdom to put it back into your deck, and then you search it out with Single Strike Roar.
Okay. Nice.
And yeah, it's super, super nice. You don't want to attach Single Strike energy from the hand. You want to attach your other spitting up.
Oh,
spitting up.
Sorry, grossness. There we go.
You don't want to attach Single Strike energy from the hand. You want to attach them from the deck with Single Strike Roar. So yeah, chill Orangaroo. I'll find a top loader later to put it in. We've
got some basic sleeves here.
Yeah, we can at least put it in that. We might end up just giving that one away.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're not giving away Miltank or Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Nope.
Alright, let's see here. Thievel. Reverse Hollow Thievel. Baffling. If your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to your benched Pokemon V. So that would be a way to potentially use in like a single prize deck. You could use a supporter V later in the game and not get it benched or bossed up.
Right.
But it's still very situational.
Right.
I don't think I've seen anybody play Thievel.
Right.
It has potential.
Mincino.
Oh yes, I love that Mincino. I actually just bought more of those too. But it's because of Call for Family. Like if you have to attack with it, it's a really good card because you get to search. This Call for Family is search for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your deck.
And it's just basic Pokemon?
Yeah. So this is good in Ditto Carp.
Yeah.
Like if you have to start Mincino and attack with it, using Call for Family, that's not bad at all.
Right.
Not bad at all. You don't want to do that. But if you have to. Okay, Magnemite by Mitsuhiro Arita, one of our favorite Pokemon artists. Very, very good Magnemite. That's part of the family that uses Giga Magnet, the Magnezone for Giga Magnet. That came in the Build and Battle boxes. That family did.
Yeah. Chimchao?
Chimecho. It's Chimecho, actually.
Oh, holy cannoli.
Chimecho. Like Chime Echo.
Chime Echo.
Which, I always said it wrong for a long time, too.
Sorry.
Chimecho.
Apparently it's Chime Echo.
Chimecho.
I'll work on that. It's going to take me a couple years, I think.
Oh, here, actually, okay. Search your deck for up to 2 special energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck.
Oh. That has potential.
That does have potential in Ditto Carp.
Yeah, it does. There you go.
I think everything has potential in Ditto Carp because that's mostly what I've been playing. Okay, Sudowoodo. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, it has no retreat cost. Okay, so that could be useful with Gapejaw Bog, potentially. And this is an example of an effect that is a ×0. So even if you had Galarmine or something in play that increased retreat cost, this would negate that because it's ×0. So it doesn't matter what other effects are in play.
Thank you.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Chimchar? Am I saying that one right?
I think so.
I'm second guess everything now.
Drifloon. Very, very happy Drifloon. But don't forget that sometimes they carry away children. So don't let your kids play with Drifloon.
Golett.
Yep. Psyduck.
Nice. Alright, and Corphish.
And if I recall correctly, mine is a Chatot. Yep, Chatot. Collect, draw a card, jabber on. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. 30 damage. That's not terrible. especially if like one engine that's popular right now is the Mew with Mysterious Tail from Celebrations.
Okay, yeah.
Where people will put out the Mew, they'll use Mysterious Tail to search. I think it's the top 7 cards. They get to pull an item, and they'll have like Air Balloon, and they'll retreat to another Mew and do it again. But if you use Jabberon, you can't do that.
Okay.
That's the thing about Air Balloon rather than Switch. Air Balloon is repeatable, but your Pokemon have to be able to retreat, and you can only retreat once per turn with all of your Pokemon. You can only retreat once per turn. So, have to keep those things in mind. That's why it's always good to have options.
Yes.
Options are optional. Well, thank you everyone for joining us.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Again, we have to say a big, big thank you to Paladin Cards. Go check out paladincards20.com. Ed over there is great. They will work with you for anything. I totally trust them to ship stuff well.
Yeah.
I totally trust that when they put up a price that it actually reflects what they are paying for whatever that item is.
Yes.
They've been able to get lots of cool older products in. So we got Sun and Moon, Lost Thunder, and Steam Siege build and battle boxes from them a while ago.
Those were fun.
Which was a lot of fun to open because we just discovered build and battle boxes within the last couple years.
Yeah.
They're one of our favorite products because as players they do give you a lot of trainer cards and things, kind of like these toolkits do.
And full families.
And full families of cards to play with. So go check out Paladin Cards. Thank you again so much, Ed, if you're watching or if you watch this later. We are going to go ahead and sign off now. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day.